And history, you might be able to apply history depending on your sense of ethnic background or cultural differences, but that all aside, you can't really do much with the education that you get in high school. I use the term education loosely, because I'm just going by their definition of, or the system's definition of education in high school. I mean, you learn how to do test scores. I mean, you might argue, well, life is a test, or there are tests always throughout your life. Well, I doubt bubbling scantrons are any sort of way applicable to the daily struggles of your life in the future. Unless, for whatever reason, you're going to make a living by doing tests. I don't know. Sounds outrageous, but whatever. You might make the argument that, you have friends, you're surrounded by all this great, you would have never met these people if it wasn't for high school, which may be true. Of course, there are exceptions like that. For the most part, there's plenty of people that you maybe hate, maybe don't like, people you certainly don't want to be around, people you don't want to be associated or affiliated with, people you don't want to be, even maybe in extreme circumstances, even acquainted with, because you don't like them that much. But who's the judge? I mean, most people in high school don't want to be there. Very few do, and the ones that do want to be there for different reasons that you would think. They don't want to be there just to take tests. And, maybe there's a couple people who like taking tests. All the power to them, whatever. But for the most part, hardly anyone does. I'm just blabbering on about this, but I really just want to explore the different aspects of high school that are just really just most people hate. And at least, you and I, whoever's watching this, might have differences, but at least we can probably come to terms with this, that high school is something special. Not necessarily in a positive way, but it is something unique and special. Very particular time in our lives. And looking back at it throughout my high school career, I mean, I can say I matured, but it's not for the reasons that high school put me through. It's not from specific experiences that the grand educational system had to offer. Even though I got to meet a lot of bright people, a lot of great-minded people. But it's not necessarily thanks to the overall system of high school. And in a way, it is thanks to the joining together of converging people coming together because of high school. The forced, acquaintance meeting or verging of all these different people, coming from different, maybe even countries or different towns, from different families that have different values. And so, I mean, it's a melting pot. It's not a melting pot I would want to be in. In a way, you say, oh, high school trains you for society. Well, I don't want to be trained to be like everyone else. I don't want to just be trained to be some sheep in the herd. Sheeple. Oh. I'm not even trying to sound edgy. I'm just being sincere here. I'm being serious. When it comes to high school, there's so many things you can examine, so many places you can explore, so many hypotheses you can make, so many fingers you can point. I could do this all day, really. But I'm going to try and condense this as much as possible, because I have so much to talk about. There's so many teachers, they're just void of compassion. So many teachers are just, they don't want to be there. They hate their job. And of course, there's great teachers out there. There's great teachers in high school. there's very passionate teachers who love what they do. And there's a lot of exceptions actually, but there's also a lot of teachers who just don't want to teach. They just, there's facilitators of this BS educational system that we have. But again, there are exceptions. There's plenty of exceptions. There are bright-minded, there are great, exceptional teachers who might bend the rules a little bit, who might change things. And that's probably what's made high school bearable for me, is I've actually had some pretty good teachers in the past, for the most part. But it also varies from region to region. In the United States and even in other countries, it really does vary, because it depends on the amount of leeway that they can give, and it's very limited. For the most part, you still have to follow the rules of the overall, for saying, educational system that we have in the United States, at least. And there's a lot of places in Europe, rather than standardized things, you can actually choose certain courses you want to take. Like if you want to have a particular career that you're interested in, or a specific workforce that you want to enter after you're done with high school. I think that's the more logical and reasonable approach, rather than just having straight across the board standardized, generalized nonsense that has very little value or applicability or practical use outside of high school. And I live in the state of California, and